Good morning, everybody. I'm going to read from 1 Samuel 10, verse 8, which is the day that the prophet Samuel revealed to Saul that God had chosen him to be king. And Samuel hinted at a crisis that Saul was shortly to face. So Samuel says to Saul, 1 Samuel 10, verse 8, "You shall go down before me to Gilgal, and surely I will come down to you to offer burnt offerings and make sacrifices of peace offerings. 7 days you shall wait till I come to you and show you what you should do." After Samuel said this, the Spirit of God came upon Saul. He was appointed king. He had great successes. He had success in saving the Israelites from the attack of the Ammonites. Things were going very well. Then the test came. 1 Samuel 13 tells us that a huge multitude of very well-armed Philistines gathered to fight Israel. The distressed Israelites, it says, hid themselves in caves, thickets, rocks, holes, and pits. Some fled over the river Jordan. Saul was in Gilgal. The day of crisis that Samuel had prophesied was here, and Saul knew it. As Samuel had instructed, Saul waited 7 days for Samuel to come. The time was almost up. Samuel had not come. So many of his people had deserted Saul. I wonder what was going through Saul's mind. He could have been waiting upon the Lord, quietly trusting him, meditating on the loving kindness, faithfulness, and power of God, things revealed time and again in Israel's history. He could have been encouraging himself with the stories of old, how God, for example, had just used a handful of men to save Israel through Gideon. He could have believed the words that Samuel had spoken. After all, it was God's own prophetic word. "Surely I will come to you to offer burnt offerings. Wait till I come to you and show you what you should do." But Saul panicked. He acted foolishly. He was not a priest, but he offered up burnt offerings himself. Immediately Samuel appeared and rebuked Saul. Samuel was not late. He was exactly on time. Had he told Saul he should wait for 7 days, not 6.5 or 6 days, 23 hours? But the test reveals who, where, and what we are. It manifests what sort of life we have been living. Saul's successor, David, learned to live abiding under the shadow of the Almighty and to rest patiently in the Lord. When he faced tests, he had the inner resources to trust on the rock of his salvation. But sadly, it seems Saul had learned few, if any, of the lessons of the Lord. The failure was not on God's part. He had wonderfully equipped Saul, putting his spirit upon him and giving him gifts previously unknown to him. The fault was on Saul's side. He didn't prioritize and nurture his relationship with the Lord. There's a great lesson to learn here, isn't there? Amen. Have a great day.